Three teams for two spots in the playoffs. Seattle and Kansas City fighting for the AFC West. Bill Parcells, Mike Holmgren 4 years ago, coaching different teams, met in the Super Bowl, won by Holmgren's Packers over Parcells' Pats. This time, the Jets trying to play spoiler as they've done against Miami, as they've done against Dallas. And Luke and Curtis, my favorite, Martin, Terry Joseph and coming. Where's the tackling? Did you do a piece on this?
I thought I told him to wrap up, Boom.
Now watch this. Last year, there's a touchdown if it's Vinny Testaverde. But this time, they call Curtis Martin down at the 1. But no problem this time. The Jets get the yard the old-fashioned way. They add it. Martin with a touchdown. It's 10-6 Jets. Late second quarter, Ray Lucas rollout. And does Keyshawn Johnson make an acrobatic play for a touchdown? But wait. There's a flag.
Now, watch Keyshawn Johnson against Sean Springs. Just look at the strength as he throws him off with the right hand, and look at that catch by Keyshawn. Good call by the official, but look at the physical abilities of Keyshawn Johnson.
Pass interference. Jets, so they settle for a field goal. It's 13-6. Lucas dumps to Curtis Martin. Look, and finally Michael Sinclair chases him down. The big fellow, good play. The Jets inside the red zone again, but Seattle holds them to another field goal at 16-9 New York. John Kitna to Sean Dawkins. Dawkins has had the dropsies this last month. He's dropped some key balls, and this pass is not the best, but in and out of his hands. And playing with an injured Ricky Waters, you just need to make plays on offense, as Mike Holmgren and John Kitna understand. Late in the fourth quarter, it's 19-9. And the ball tipped. Roman Candle Pfeiffer lights the candle for the Jets, who were 2-6 but end up 8-8. The Jets, at the moment, the Seahawks feel they're probably not out of the playoffs. They know at the time the Chiefs were leading the Raiders. The Jets win 19-9, even though Seattle had the Jets inside the red zone 4 times and held them to 4 field goals, so a better job by their defense, albeit in a loss.
And Mike Holmgren, a tremendous task in front of him, trying to control this team that doesn't have a lot of playoff experience.
So, Seattle lost. What about the Chiefs? The Chiefs now know they win the division. And after all, they've beaten the Raiders 18 of the last 20 times. Raiders haven't won on Arrowhead since 1988. This one was over, right? Well, the way it started, certainly true. Raiders punt after 3 and out. Tamarick Vanover. Tommy, he's one of the best at doing this.
Well, he's got great speed and great upper body strength, so once he breaks that first wave, if you don't stay in your lanes, he's going to do that to you often.
His 8th return in his career, 7-0 Chiefs. And then James Hasty picks off Rich Gannon. He's gone. We've played 2 minutes and 15 seconds. The Chiefs have not even been on offense, and they lead at 14-0. And so, here comes Derek Thomas.
Well, the stunt between the tackle and the end, Derek Thomas going to come inside, the end going to go outside. Leslie O'Neal, you see Gannon step up, a great job of finding the lane. His offensive line does a good job, and just an errant throw by the quarterback as he throws a pick right there to Chris Dishman.
So the Chiefs know that the Raiders' tackles are hurt. They're looking for the sack, and now the Raiders change their game plan. A little screen to Zach Crockett, king of the wild frontier. 12 yards, touchdown, 17-14. Then, look at this shovel pass coming up from Gannon. Whoop, inside the vest to Napoleon Coffin, 22 yards. Hey, the Raiders have been down 17-0. They lead 21-17. It's 28-24. Raiders at the half in a wild one. Third quarter, Chiefs on their own, too. This is Kansas City football. Janelle Bennett, 29 yards. And then, Tom, do you think that they like that?
Well, and look at the blocking schemes. They aren't doing a whole lot here other than blowing out the guy in front of them. There you saw a little pull by the tackle inside. But most of this is basically just running the football right at the Raiders and allowing the running back to break tackles and get yards.
Elvis Gerback. Now you're expecting run. They throw it to Joe Horn. Chiefs 31. Raiders 28. Lockett jumps over Horn. And now the Raiders, could they jump over the Chiefs? Look at Tyrone Wheatley. This is, where was this with the Giants? Because, what a great effort for a touchdown by Tyrone Wheatley. 35-31. There it is. Minute 34 to go with 38-35. The Chiefs have the lead. On 4th and 13, Gannon to Tim Brown. Setting up. Joe Nedden, 38 yards. He missed last week. He makes this week. Good. We're going to overtime. Tied at 38. Chiefs. Well, we're not going to overtime yet. My bad. 3rd and 5. A 10-yard play to Joe Horn and Pete Stoyanovich for the win. 44 yards. Hooked. No good. No, we go to overtime. In overtime, ex-Chief kickoff man John Baker has kicked the ball out of bounds 3 times. So he gives the Raiders great field position. Gannon to Ricky Dudley. The Chiefs don't have the ball. Joe Nedney has tied it. Can he win it? 33 yards. Good! For the first time in the 90s. Although we really aren't in the 90s. The 99 season. The Kansas City Chiefs have lost at home to the Oakland Raiders. And the one time that they needed to beat their rating, they couldn't do it. The Chiefs' loss puts them out because the Seahawks win the tiebreak in the AFC West, and it puts Miami in. So Seattle, stunned in the locker room at the Meadowlands, think they're out. Then they watch this game in overtime. A different reaction an hour later.
The bottom line is we're in a 12-team tournament for this thing, and that's how you do it. You got to get in first, and then once you're in, you got to do some damage. And craziest thing is we're going to host a game.
You go from the depths of despair to euphoria, and I mean, I got to send John Gruden, who's a good buddy of mine, I got to send him something. I didn't get him enough for Christmas, that was for sure.
Yeah, I would say that's true. So Seattle, despite the fact that they finished the year at 1-5, 9-7 is their record, the first record that Mike Holmgren had with the Green Bay Packers, and they're in the playoffs. And the Kingdome gets an extra home game. They were going to blow it up, but they got another game there.
Play better run defense. Play better run defense.
Well, they need
Michael, get them ready.
Like the big sombrero in Kezar Stadium, the Kingdome hangs on for one extra game. When we return, Chargers Broncos, and then the NFC playoff picture. Mile High Stadium, a place of doom for the San Diego Chargers through the years, but Bill Davis, Shannon Sharp, some of the main cogs of the Broncos, obviously been out all year. Brian Griese, easy Ed McCaffrey, first down. In the fourth quarter with Denver down by 6. Griese for McCaffrey, catch, but ruled out of bounds. Denver challenges. Just over 2 minutes to go. Peep show. Left heel out of bounds. And so the San Diego Chargers playing without Saya. Harrison hurt. The Chargers under Mike Riley finish 8-8. And maybe if they get something from Ryan Leaf next year and they have their defenders healthy, a lot to build on. A pretty nice season, 12-6 win over the Broncos.
Boom, it's a team that showed a lot of character through a lot of adversity this season.
And obviously the Broncos have played well down the stretch, but this one they ran out of gas. Speaking of playing well, how about Tennessee? Could they continue their role? And NFC East champion Washington at home against Miami. The Dolphins knew when they took the field because of the Western teams that they were in. Washington, now Dan Marino in the playoffs, although will it be Dan? Marino's pass in Washington, winning their first East championship since '91, is tipped and picked off by Mark McMillan in white. Return to the 35-17 pick of Marino this season. 7-0 Washington second quarter. Marino, Oronde Gadsden. That's, whoa. Looked like it might be a nice play, but they settled for a field goal by Mare, which is nothing new. Marino first half 11 of 24, 118 yards, 1 interception. Jimmy Johnson yells at Jason Taylor after Jason gets in an on-field scuffle. We don't need that. Second half, it's Damon Heward. How would he fare? Haven't seen him in the huddle for the Dolphins for a while. He scrambles. We know he can move, but he's stripped by Kennard Lang. Doug Brown recovers the fumble for the Redskins. This time, Ndukwe Kalu with the sack. 3 sacks of Heward to a touchdown, he threw an interception. By the way, Washington has won 10 games for the first time since 1991, the last time they won the Super Bowl. And Norv Turner's team, they've been playing better, certainly playing better defensively down the stretch. They win 21-10. As for the Tennessee Titans, how would they follow up last week's demolition of Jacksonville? They knew that the division hopes would be out in their late game against Pittsburgh, but Javon Curse strips Tom Zach the hat trick, right, Tommy? The strip.
The recovery, the touchdown.
28-7 Titans. Neil O'Donnell hit by Joey Porter. Porter says, anything you can do, I can do better. It's the Steeler defense that scores. And he taunts Chris Sanders. 40-29. What a wild game. Tennessee leads. Richard Huntley Brinkley's it. Denard Walker breaks a tackle. And then Huntley has his back turned to the play.
Well, another guy who thinks that the play is over, Boom, and it will be in just a second.
It is now because it's 83 yards later. Tennessee scores 2 touchdowns on defense. My goodness, they haven't scored 40 points in back-to-back games since George Blanda and the '61 Houston Oilers. The Titans become the fourth team this season to win 13 games. They finished 13-3 and are steamrolling into the playoffs, Tom.
Highly aggressive front four, playing championship football, getting pressure with the front four, allowing them to drop 7 into coverage. Very tough defense to beat.
Both McNair and O'Donnell playing quarterback today for Tennessee. As we go inside the numbers, there's no question that Tennessee finishes the season with a flourish. They're not alone. Inside the numbers tells us these teams have had the best second half. Jags, Colts, Titans, Bucks, Rams, all 7-1 since the midway point. Bills, Vikings, Jets, all 6-2. What a surprise. You play that well down the stretch for everybody except the Jets, who had a huge hole. You make the playoffs.
Inside the Numbers is brought to you by Visa, the official card of the NFL. Log on to ESPN.com for more Inside the Numbers.
We've saved the best for this point. When we return, 4 teams for 1 spot. And how, because of the tie-breaking rules, it was one of the most exhilarating hours of football if you had 2 TV sets. Tiebreaker are net points in the conference. And going in, the Packers had an 18-point lead over Carolina, if it would come down to this, and a huge lead over the New York Giants. So, Carolina and Green Bay, let's score some points. Let's begin at the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Cheeseheads and force not that cold to watch Ray Rhodes and the Packers try to even their mark at 8-8 and beat the Arizona Cardinals, who last won in at the Packers in 1949. It's the Chicago Cardinals. 14-3 early. Dorsey Levin scores, and Bill Schrader jumps over. Meanwhile, Carolina playing home against the Saints. They lead 17-0. Looking to score again, Steve Berline and Wesley Walsh. We need to score a lot of points. It's 24-0. Carolina. Mike Ditka knows the deal, but he's not pleased. Green Bay at this point lead over Carolina in the point differential +5. Dorsey Levins, third quarter. 1,000-yard season for him, thanks to this 36-yard run. Later in the drive, Levins, touchdown. Late third quarter, 21-3 Pack. Their differential now running total over Carolina is +12. Back to Carolina at 3:11 Eastern time. Berline to Patrick Jeffers. Makes the adjustment, 31-0 Carolina. And at this moment, Carolina's pulled to within 5 points in the differential. A minute later, 3:12 Eastern. Jake Plummer says, you know what? We're going to at least try to play some sort of spoiler. Frank Sanders, touchdown, it's 21-10. And Carolina, at this moment, would be in the playoffs if the guns went off. But we're so far from that, we don't even know what to say. 3:15, Basil Mitchell puts a little oregano, puts a little tarragon, and puts a lot of spice into an 88-yard kickoff return. Touchdown Pack. They lead 28-10, and they're +5. And you know you're being told, Tom, what's going on. 3:22 in Carolina. Jake Delhomme tries to put the Panthers Delhomme for the playoffs. Touchdown. So even though it's 31-7, they're out of this game, the Pack now have a 12-point lead over Carolina. It's as if New Orleans was playing for Green Bay and Arizona was playing for Carolina. Michael Bates. What? Oh, my goodness. Don't tell me he's going to do it. He could go all the way. 95 yards, 38-7 Panthers. They're within 5 of the Pack. Back to Green Bay, 3:29 Eastern. Dorsey Levins. Third touchdown of the game. 35-10 Green Bay. They're in good shape now because it's late, +12. But not so fast. Here comes Arizona. Jake Plummer. To Rob Moore, beats 2 defenders. 51 yards. Ray Rhodes. You can't allow points, but they do. Mario Bates, touchdown, 35-17. The Packers lead the Panthers by just 5 in the differential. 3:45 Eastern time in Carolina. Steve Berline, they know exactly what the score is. And so they go deep to Jeffers, 32 yards, and the Panthers have now left over the Packers at +2. 3:51 Eastern, back to Green Bay. Arizona can further help Carolina. But maybe the play of the year in retrospect, one of the McKenzie brothers, Mike McKenzie, makes a great pick.
Well, and a great job by McKenzie of getting his head around, watching, focus on the football. Great job of fighting the receiver off and making the interception at the goal line.
So, Brett Favre, the Packers need points. They're down to 3:50 in the game out of zone 1 at Lambeau. What could happen? You know what's going to happen. 8 yards to Corey Bradford. Now, hurry up offense, even though they're up 35-17 because of the differential. What an odd bunch of circumstances, creating some unbelievable football. Favre to Bradford, 31 yards. Hurry up offense. Favre. Bill Schrader, 15 yards. 4 o'clock Eastern time. Favre pumps. Schrader, touchdown, 99-yard drive, 42-17 Pack, and the big number on the Lambeau Leaf, +5 over Carolina, who knows exactly what's going on, Tom, because at 4:10 in Charlotte, Jake Delhomme hurting the Panthers, helping the Packers. He's in. And I know it's 45-13, but Mike Ditka says, I know, George Seifert, I know you have to do this, but let's go for 2. I don't care. I'm caught up in this, too. Let's go for 2. But first, challenge. Was he in? Touchdown stands. So on the 2-point conversion, I mean, this is unbelievable. Delhomme batted down by Kevin Green, so Green Bay's differential is +11. George Seifert hoping for Arizona almost north of the border in Green Bay. Meanwhile, at 4:11 Eastern, Seifert gets a wish. Plummer to Matt Commander Cody, touchdown. And Green Bay's lead is down to just 4 over Carolina. Back to Carolina. Ditka goes for an onside kick. He's caught up in it. I want points, but it's recovered by Anthony Johnson. Green Bay figuring this is easy. Meanwhile, they don't know that Burline. Oh, it's incomplete to Muhsin Muhammad. In Green Bay, they figure they're safe. There's a minute left in Carolina, and there's no way Carolina would have the ball in scoring position. But then word comes in to Ray Rhodes on the sideline. We need more points because Carolina has the ball at the 30. So Favre, instead of running out the clock, throws a bomb. Charles Jordan down to the 1. Down to the 1. Moments later, Favre, hurry up, tick, tick, tick. To Levens, 4th touchdown, 49-24. +11, the differential. And then, I mean, how many points can you score? 45 is not enough for George Seifert. It is enough for Brett Favre. One of the wackiest scenarios we've seen, but one of the wildest hours of football. The Pack, if Dallas loses later, they become the 8-8 team that goes to the playoffs. Look at the numbers for Plummer, for Favre, unbelievable. As for the Panthers' numbers, their numbers unbelievable. What a season for Steve Burline. 322 yards for him. Both teams scoring 45 points. But it's the Packers who... Well, first of all, it's the first time they are not over 500 since 1991.
I can't tell you how much I enjoyed listening to you do that.
I forgot about
Good recreation of what happened in that room.
We got to just tell you something. All of us, not only Tommy and I, the whole staff at NFL Primetime and all the staff at NFL Countdown, we were up and screaming at the set. I know this is not the way to design it, to rub it in, but it was not a rub it in. The way it worked out, it was an amazing hour, Tommy.
Well, there were literally 3 games going on. We couldn't take our eyes off of them. And watching these coaches' reaction as the points were being scored, I think the penultimate moment for me was Brett Favre literally trying to run out the clock and then getting word probably from the sideline in his helmet that we may need another score. They're on the 30-yard line. And, you know, I mean, just moment to moment. I think that's what I meant at the beginning of the show. I think this is the way the NFL intended the last weekend of the season to be this exciting.
It was exciting, and the Packers remembered that they got a guy who runs the ball.
Yeah, Dorsey Levens, the 24 carries, 146 yards, 4 touchdowns, compared to that 4 yards on 10 carries that he got last week. I think the formula for success is pretty clear.
So now went into the locker room and tuned in to see if the Giants could beat Dallas. If they could, Green Bay goes to the playoffs. If they don't, it's the Cowboys that go to the playoffs. They have some guys that have smelled the postseason before.
Sale.
Monday Night Countdown, Mike Tirico and the guys. Lots to talk about. Some involving the Niners and the Falcons. And the playoffs. moving forward. And the NFL tonight will talk all week long and get you set. Mark Malone and the gang on ESPN2 Tuesday through Friday night. So, we've set the stage. Could Dallas, playoff savvy, win them out? They've only lost one at home all year. They're at home against the New York Football Giants. Opening kickoff, Jason Tucker slips a tackle. Sam Garnes in pursuit. David Patton. He generals him down. 79-yard return to the Giants defense holds Dallas to a field goal. But they couldn't hold him out of the end zone at 16-3. Aikman quick slanted Tucker. He beats Jeremy Lincoln. Tucker can move. He tucks it in. He's gone. 90 yards. 23-3 Dallas, to the chagrin of the Packers and to the chagrin of the Giants. Harry Collins to David Patton. Can they mount a drive down 26-10? Collins to Brian Alford. Touchdown 26-18 because they make a two-point conversion to the down 8. Onside kick, but Dexter Coakley, part of the good hands people. And the Cowboys, Chan Gailey, winning. And they finish at 8-8. But they're going to the playoffs. The Giants made a run. But in the end, Emmitt Smith, 122 yards, Tom, the 64th time he's had a 100-yard rushing game in his career. That's tied for third all-time.
Well, and that great balance that he gives them allows Troy Aikman to get comfortable. He throws for over 230 yards. He throws for 2 touchdowns. We haven't seen that offense from the Dallas Cowboys for a while.
So, may we have the envelope, please? Let's set up the playoffs. First of all, in the NFC, Detroit ends up the 6th seed. They will be at Washington in ABC's late game on Saturday afternoon. The Lions have not won at the Redskins since they were the Boston Redskins in 1935, and they snapped an 8-game losing streak to the Redskins by beating them earlier this year in Detroit. The Cowboys, as the 5 seed, play at Minnesota, the 4 seed. Remember, Dallas had their way on a Monday night against Minnesota till Emmitt Smith got hurt.
Well, in the first game, the Redskins, a punishing offense. That's a tall task for the Detroit Lions. And then remember, when Emmitt Smith was running in the first half of that football game, as you mentioned, they were blowing the Vikings out 17-0 at home. They're going to go into Minnesota with a lot of confidence.
Minnesota won that game in Week 9, 27-17. You talk about, I know it's indoors, not outdoors, but can you say Hail Mary, Cowboys-Vikings in the playoffs? That brings back some memories. Here now is the AFC matchup. The AFC matchup, and when they were the Oilers, do you think the Bills and Oilers had a pretty good playoff game in this round in 1992? That comeback by Frank Reich and the Bills? Bills at Titans. The winner of this game, that's the early game Saturday on ABC at 12:30 Eastern with the pregame at 12 noon. Bills at Titans. The winner becomes a very formidable foe. The late game Sunday, the Dolphins, the 6th seed, at the Western champ Seahawks. That's the late game on Sunday afternoon. That 4-5 game is intriguing.
Well, you just look at those records right there, and you can see that when the Bills play the Titans, I think potentially you have 2 outstanding defenses. Potentially you have outstanding offenses, especially depending on what Doug Flutie does from the quarterback position. And, you know, the Tennessee Titans right now, I believe, playing as well as any team in football.
Well, and the teams that get the byes, the 2 Florida teams will get a bye and play at home on Saturday, that being Jacksonville early and Tampa Bay late. And the 2 Dome teams, St. Louis and Indianapolis, they are the teams that will play the Sunday games. And, of course, you don't know the matchups because the number 1 seed plays the lowest seed remaining. We've reached the playoffs, Thomas. We have reached the playoffs. All right, when we come back, another comment or 2 about the postseason, game balls, and a look back at a wild season right here on NFL Primetime.
Primetime Players is brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT, the easy way to save.
My game ball goes to the 2nd all-time leading receiver in NFL history and 4th in yardage, Andre Reed. 941 catches, 13,095, and playoff bound, Tom.
Mine goes to Dorsey Levens, the 24 carries, 146 yards, 4 TDs. He did everything he could do to try to get the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs.
It is safe to say that this has been a season unlike any other. I mean, we had 4 teams with 13 wins. We've never had that before. But the teams that did a lot of the winning came from the depths. But it gives credence to the adage that we like to talk about week in and week out. That's why they play the games. And you know what? Because of those games, that's why we have this show. Well there, and welcome to week 1 of the 1999 season. Lance Youngers from
Hofstra,
from Clemson, from
Dartmouth, Louisville, Princeton, Columbia.
Let's get this straight. I said a Todd Light, not a Bud Light. This is James Littleman Stewart. Look at him. It's a wonderful, wonderful run. Curtis, my favorite Martin. Starvin' Marvin Harrison. Chitty, chitty, bang, bang, a Hanatu. Javon first. I look at the curse. John Pythagoras Theory. Eric sleeping with the enemy. Barry after dinner Minter. Kevin, hey, hey, he. Get off of McCloud. Ice turkey. Jonathan Belly Button Linton. We will never see this again in football. George. To Chris Carter, all he does?
Catch touchdown, catch touchdown, catch touchdown, catch touchdown.
Wow. And he could go all the way. Cuckoo Cachoo, Mr. Robinson. I'm going to take my coat of chrome. I'm going to take my coat of chrome. I'm going to take my coat of chrome away. Whoa! Tradition! Bob's sister Christian, motor in!
We've been together for 13 seasons, and it is the nuttiest season we've ever seen.
Rubbling, bubbling, stumbling, bubbling, whoop, doink, 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 whoop! Tick, 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 doink, whoop, whoop! No one circles the wagons. Look at that. Like the Buffalo Bills. J-E-T-X. How about that, cowboy?
It's like the Bizarro world in the Superman comics. Everything's turned around.
He's running the wrong way, and he forgot the ball. Wade Sweater, it's going to work today. Drop the chalupa. And could that Cunningham like it? The only thing that could stop him is this cord. Wait a minute, we're leading at Three Rivers? You kidding? No, I don't believe it. Michael Bassnight says we're leading? Why? What was that? Dion, was he delivering papers? Bicycles? Bring your defense this year. That's why they play the games. 3rd and 4. It's Corey Bradford beating Jimmy Hitchcock. 24-yard touchdown. 2 seconds to go. Cal Chiefs it. What do you do, Tom?
Get down!
Knock it down! They don't! It's a touchdown! Cleveland wins! So it's now 4th down. Furline, his own number. Yes, he's over the goal line. Touchdown. It's a touchdown. And there's no time left on the clock. John Connie, Sheila McCrae, Audrey Meadows. Good night, everybody.
I don't know any more than I knew when we started.
Let us introduce you to the young men and women who love football as much as we do and as much as you do, and that they have the hardest job in television, and that's to make us look good. Believe me. Right, Tom? I mean, that's very difficult.
They do a great
so we
job.
salute. I mean, these guys, they watch the highlights all day long, and they present them to you, and they give it to us in an orderly fashion. It's not nice.
Give yourselves a
Not
hand.
the first time If this has been the regular season for 1999, and this is the way we enter the new millennium, let's have more of it. Playoffs, prime time every night during the playoffs. For Tom Jackson and every member of our NFL crew here at NFL Primetime, I'm Chris Berman. Happy New Year.